All right, sixth grade. We're moving on here in chapter 3, looking at lesson 3.5 today, focusing on this phrase, unit rate. Essentially, a unit rate means out of 1. Unit rate means out of 1. So we're going to be writing a unit rate for the situation out of 1. So we're looking at this, 48 deer in 6 square miles. So the idea is we have 6 square miles, and within those 6 square miles, we have 48 deer. So what my recommendation is, and some of these you're going to be able to do mental math, and here's an example of one. 48 deer in 6 miles. So you're going to create a ratio, 48 over 6. And the unit rate is out of 1. So the idea being, if there are 48 deer in 6 square miles, how many are there in 1 square mile? And it's essentially figuring out what number's supposed to go here. So it's really finding an equivalent ratio. Well, we ask ourselves, what did we do to 6 to get 1? Now remember, when we find equivalent ratios, it's all about multiplication and division, okay? And so we want to think, well, 6, what did I do to 6 to get 1? Well, it got smaller, so I must have divided, and it's 6 divided by 6. And if I did 6 divided by 6 here, I've got to do 48 divided by 6 there. And 48 divided by 6 is 8, which tells me that the unit rate is 8 deer in 1 square mile. And this is how I want your final answer written. 8 deer in 1 square mile. 1,065 miles on 15 gallons. When we look at number 2, 1,065 miles in 15 gallons. So once again, we're going to set up the ratio. 1,065 over 15. And then we're trying to figure out, well, how many miles in 1 gallon? So essentially what we're doing, since we're making it out of 1, well, what did we do to 15 to get 1? Well, we divided by 15. Just like up here we had 6, we divided by 6. Essentially, you'll see what we're doing is essentially all we're doing is actually the problem that the original ratio sets up. Like this was 48 over 6, we had to do 48 divided by 6. This is 1,065 over 15, so we're having to do 1,065 divided by 15, which really does not work out mental math for us. We've got to go and do 1,065 divided by 15. Well, 15 cannot go into 1. 15 cannot go into 10. 15 is still bigger than 10. But 15 can go into 106. And so I'm going to think, well, about how many times can it go? I'm not totally sure. So I'm going to try 15 times 6 and see what I get there. 6 times 5 is 30. Put the 0 down, carry the 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. That could be right, but I might want to go a little higher just to be safe, as we've talked about. Doesn't hurt to always try. 7 times 5 is 35. Put the 5 down, carry the 3. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. 105. Well, I like that. That's even a little closer to 106, so that seems like it's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 7 there. Put a 105 there, since I've established that 15 times 7 is 105. When I do 106 minus 105, I get 1. I bring down the 5. Well, I know that 15 can go into 15 one time, and there are none left over when I do that. So I get 71 miles on 1 gallon. And so I find 71 there. And as my final answer, I would write 79 miles on 1 gallon. Not bad at all. Last one, $13.55 for 5 ounces. So essentially, I'm going to set up my ratio. $13.55 for 5 ounces. How much is it going to cost for 1 ounce? Well, once again, I'm dividing by 5 to get 1, which means I'm just essentially doing the problem that's set up by the ratio, 13 and 55 hundredths divided by 5. So I'm going to come over here, taking 5 into 13 and 55/100ths. There's no decimal here, but there's a decimal there that I'm going to bring straight up. 5 cannot go into 1, but it can go into 13 2 times. 5 times 2 is 10. 13 minus 10 is 3. Bring down the 5. 5 can go into 35 7 times. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 minus 35 is 0. Bring down that 5. 5 can go into 5 one time, and I know when I take 5 into 5 one time, there are none left over. So I end up with $2.71 for 1 ounce. $2.71 for 1 ounce. OZ is the abbreviation for ounce. That's finding the unit rate, just finding it out of 1, like we said there. All right, have a good day, 6th grade. Talk to you later.